Chapter 2 Part 2 by Dion Robinson. After spending the weekend with Orlando, Joilee got up bright and early. Dressed in her military uniform, Joilee proudly attached the governmental engagement silver seal to her military emblem. Orlando was still asleep. Joilee sat on the edge of the bed and kissed Jackson on the forehead, waking him. Orlando turned on the holographic sun on the monitors, which helped boost serotonin levels for him to wake up. The hologram gave Joilee a glowing aura. "You are leaving already?" "Yeah, my transport shuttle leaves at 1300 hours. I wish I could see you off." "Don't worry about it, baby. I know you have a lot on your plate. Just make sure you have your ass at that boarding bay next week when I leave for the Oldumare. I would not miss it for the world." Within the next hour, Joilee caught a transport ship to the Detroit Biodome region. Orlando escorted Joilee to the Atlanta City docking area. Joilee arrived late afternoon in the Hart Plaza landing bay. Once the transport ship docked, Joilee took a transport train to a sub-biodome division 10 miles south from the Detroit Biodome hub. The transport car entered the sub-biodome that was the suburban-type habitat. Joilee Transport drove to the house near an artificial lake. Once the vehicle stopped at her parents' home, living quarters accommodated a 6-family home. Joilee got out of the transport vehicle and walked into her childhood home in her military uniform. Joilee walked into the house with an excited look on her face. She saw nobody in the room. She set her luggage at the door and continued to search the house. She finally made her way out the back door and suddenly, surprise! All her family shouted. Joilee was startled, which soon turned to joy. Joilee's mother and father approached her. Joilee's father was Emmanuel James, as a chief medical officer in mental health. He was an African American in his early 60s. He has salt and pepper curly hair that is low cut, and he is cleanly shaven. Joilee's mother, Rachel James, was of Irish descent. She was in her late 40s and had red hair with a few streaks of gray mixed in with her reddish-brown hair. She worked as a chief medical doctor in her sector. "I am so glad to see you both," Joilee replied as she hugged both her parents. "We hear about your new position. We are so proud of you." Dr. Joilee Rayna James, Chief Science Officer of Agriculture. That has a beautiful ring to it. "Where is Mason?" "In his room catching up on his military simulations. He has been slacking off. The military has put him on probation. If he fails, he will be sent to work manual labor." "Well, let me go, say hi to the twerp." Moments later, Joilee walked inside Mason's room. Mason shared the same brownish-red hair and caramel skin tone characteristics as Joilee. Mason is 15 years old and was tall for his age, 6'3" to be exact. Joilee ambled at Mason and surprised Mason from behind. He had a pair of V.R. training goggles and a handgun in his hand. "Hey, you!" Joilee shouted as she freighted Mason. Mason dropped the VR gun, causing him to lose the training exercise. "Damn it!" Mason replied as he took his VR goggles off. Mason was ready to barrage his distractor with vulgar insults until he saw Joilee's face. "Hey, sis, when did you get in?" "About 10 minutes ago. I heard about your promotion. Congrats. Seems like you're doing well. And it seems like you have not been. Mom and Dad have told me you are not taking your exams seriously. Come on, Jay. You are not about to lecture me when you just got home." "I am. The military does not play around with failure. Do you want to be sent to a manual labor district? All you do is back-breaking work while getting the lesser grade of rations." "No." "Then get it together. I have done military patrols in that district before. That place smells." "All right, I get it. I will work my ass off." "You better. I'll let you get back to your work." Joilee scolded before leaving the room. After hours of discussing her time in the military, Joilee's parents were elated to hear their daughter's experience. As Joilee talked, Rachel noticed the engagement seal on her uniform. I see your emblem has been decorated with your hard work. I see another special emblem as well. When are we going to meet him? Meet who? The man who gave you the engagement seal. Oh, Joilee replied as she started to blush. I was hoping he would come here to meet you and Dad, but he had to train new cadets. Busy man, huh? Yeah, and I am proud of him. You never told me that you were seeing a man. I know. It's just that I have been swamped, and I did not have a chance to call you and Dad. Tell me about him. His name is Lieutenant Orlando Jackson. We met at the academy. We were friends for a while, but we started dating a year ago. I am happy for you. When is the wedding? As soon as I get back from my space expedition. Yeah, that. Mrs. James replied with a worried look on her face. Mom, what's wrong? It's just that I am worried about you going up there. Mom, everything will be fine. Of course, everything will be fine. I just don't think it is safe. We don't know what is up there, the mysteries of space, or the dangers above. The military expedition has done numerous simulations into deep space travel. We are more capable of handling ourselves, Emmanuel bolstered with confidence. Yeah, but I'll be back in no time. I am quite sure time will go by real fast. Suddenly the computer chimes, signaling that someone was at the door. Mr. James gets the doorbell. He opens the door, and Jackson's standing on the other side in his uniform. How may I help you, young man? Yes. Is there a Dr. Joilee Raina James here? Depend on who's asking. Mr. James replied with an emotionless look. My name is Lieutenant Orlando Jackson, Jackson replied as he extended his hand for a shake. Mr. James looked at his side and stared right back in his face. So, Joilee and Mrs. James walk into the living room as she hears Orlando's voice in the kitchen. Orlando? What are you doing here? I am here to see you. I thought you had drill exercises all week. I asked my CO for a favor to take some time off. Joilee, you know this clown. Daddy, be nice. This is my fiancé. I am just messing with him. Mr. James started to laugh. So you are the young man that has my daughter glowing with smiles. Come in. A week later, Jackson sees Joilee off as she boards a transport shuttle to the interplanetary ship the Stellar Errand. Once Joilee and her crew boards the ship's pilot initiates the final countdown. Once the Stellar Errand's ignited, the engines created plumes of smoke beneath the vessel, causing it to project into space. Orlando could see the light from engines from the biodome platform. Joilee looked outside the window to catch a glimpse of Earth's atmosphere, which had a brownish hue. The Earth seemed far beautiful in the history lessons that showed her a bluish planet. Joilee and the crew stayed at the space station for 2 days before boarding the interplanetary ship, the Stellar Errand. Once on board the Stellar Errand, Joilee and the ship's crew were transported to the galaxy's outer realms to the next to Pluto's orbital space station, the Oasis. Once the vessel broke the orbit, the transport ship docked the Earth's spaceport, Heaven's Watchtower, before making its way to the Hearthopolis to transfer to another ship. From there, Joilee will make a 5-day trip to Pluto's orbital space colony the Oasis.